you mentioned in the investor letter here that you invest with a great deal of paranoia. The questioner would like to know, what are the 3 things that make you most paranoid?
Well, today I would say answering these questions was pretty high on my list of things I'm paranoid about, but we're nearly at the end, so I've survived this far, which is almost always a fatal thought in terms of what happens next. Look, my biggest area of concern, I don't know if Julian's got any, but my biggest area of concern is investors' reactions to events. Look, at some point, events will occur, which means that our performance will not be the best performance out there. We will underperform the market, possibly also lose money for investors for a period. It's, as night follows day, this must happen. The wonderful returns will halt for a period. All of the stocks of the sort that we won't own, all those car companies and oil and gas companies we described will have their day in the sun. It's going to happen. Nothing ever sort of outperforms forever. I worry about how people will react to that, because notwithstanding the fact that we've done 10 years now of outperformance, and I think that it's basically a fact that this kind of quality strategy, given a long-term approach, does outperform other strategies over there. People, I think, will make decisions at that point, some of which are injurious to them and injurious to us to a degree. Now, I'm not worried about the fact that people will all run away and we won't have a business anymore. I think we've got enough substance in our business by some margin to survive that now, and even if we don't, I think we're all okay. But I think we would. I'm more worried about the fact that it's injurious to them. Frankly, I think people will, in the long run, injure their or cause injury to their own net wealth by making those decisions, and from time to time cause us to make suboptimal decisions. You know, they're likely to do it, if you think about it, this sort of decision that I'm talking about, being a bit paranoid about, at a moment when our strategy is underperforming, when they'll be taking money away, which is almost certainly the moment at which we all should be putting some more money in. And that's the problem with having an open-ended fund. We are very keen on the fact that our investors can have their money back any day. You get fed up with me at the end of this call and ring up, you're out. Basically, that's it. But it's something that I think they need to treat with great care when they think about these things. Because every time there is something like, you know, in March, April of 2020, we saw people suddenly rush for the exit. Now, we coped perfectly well. I mean, we had no problems with liquidity and satisfying them. But, I mean, I know some of them very well, some of these individuals, and some of them haven't got back in. Now, I mean, maybe they'll yet prove to be right, but at the moment, they're definitely wrong. And so it worries me that they'll make decisions like that. I mean, my final piece of paranoia is what you think of my beard, to be honest with you. As you may have noticed, I've grown a lockdown beard. And I'd like to have a poll amongst our, if this were our normal physical annual show, I'd ask for a show of hands on whether to keep it, or as they say in the Royal Navy, shave off. When you're in the Royal Navy, you have to ask permission to grow, and then your beard is examined after a while, and you're given permission to retain it, or you have to shave off. So I want to know what people think. I'm canvassing opinions. I'm not certain about it myself, to be honest with you. What I can say as a result of growing it is that razor manufacturers who worry about not being able to sell things to people because of the trend in millennials in particular to grow beards, and I guess more people like me to grow them in lockdown, are completely wrong. I've spent far more on buying products for this since I did it than I ever did on shaving. Julian, do you want to add anything to the paranoia?
I would add one thing, which is, I mean, I wrote down, I'm paranoid, we'll lose our sense of paranoia. And I think the way I'd put that more simply is that one of the things that Terry says when we interview people is the day job isn't glamorous. And I think that one of the things that we have, I think, done quite well is, as I call it, maintain discipline. I think that we still write up, we read things, we write up things in exactly the same way now as we did then. I'm not going to go on about, I haven't gone out and bought a fancy art collection, but I think we still do the basic things in the same disciplined way as we always have. The great thing about the new people we've brought on board is that they do that and more. And as long as we do that, I think we will be okay. But we must be very careful not to think that we're terribly clever and terribly glamorous and forget the day job.
Yeah, it's interesting, Joe. It's an interesting point, because I always try and ask people after they've been with the firm for a while, usually a year or so, what do you think? about the place. And one of the comments I liked from somebody at one point is he said, you know, it's one of those rare places where what you actually do is what you said you do. When I was interviewing, and probably a bit more, that you definitely maintain your discipline. And I think that's very, very important, that we don't, as Julian says, ever either recruit people or ourselves get carried away with the idea that we're terribly clever and we don't have to do the basics on these things. I think Julian and his colleagues study and write and model, and I read absolutely everything and ask them questions when I don't understand what the hell it is they're saying, and they explain it to me mostly. I mean, and if they can't explain it, it's my fault, not theirs really, because they can definitely explain it.